lesson 4 of the energy unit, and this is on how heat changes things. One of the things you'll need to do to prepare ahead of time for this lesson is you'll want to take the 3 different discs out somewhere in the sun and let them sit for a little while before bringing them in. Students are going to start by observing these discs and how they feel different. We want them, again, using precise language and making really good observations. They'll be doing this both verbally to practice language and speaking skills, as well as in writing in their student workbooks. Then you want to talk with your students and have them brainstorm ideas about how there are times when heating things can change what it is that was heated. Have them think about experiences they've had. If they need some examples to get them going, talk about things like baking a cake and how that batter looks very different after it's been baked than it does before. And have them share different times that they've observed that heat changes things. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to do an experiment that you will do as a demonstration for them, showing how heat can change wax crystals. You start with a bowl of water and pour some wax crystals into that. We'll place the wick in there. Have them observe what the crystals look like before you start. Light the wick. And then allow them to observe what is happening here. This is one that you can get this started as they are making the observations about the discs to have more than one thing going on at a time. As that's going, you can have students start on the next part, which is a discussion about chemical reactions and how the chemical reaction causes the heat to change. For this, they're going to use their student workbooks. It does have all of the steps for the experiment in there. They're going to be working with precision and mathematics skills by reading the thermometer. If they need some practice reading the thermometer, you can do that ahead of time. There are some workbook pages as well that will give them more practice with that. And remember that they can use either the centigrade or the Fahrenheit. The marks will be different and you will want to talk about that. They'll start with some steel wool and place that into a cup and place the thermometer in there and make the reading of the temperature and record that in their workbooks. The next thing that they will do is they will pour some vinegar in there and make observations about the temperature now that the vinegar is in there. Once they've observed that, then they want to take their plastic baggie they will place the thermometer in there, as well as the steel wool that has been soaked in vinegar, and seal that bag. This will need some time for the reaction to occur and affect the temperature. So while that is happening is a good time for them to make observations about how the wax is changing now that it's been heated. You can also talk about other things that have chemical reactions to make heat and how we use those as consumers. You can open and pass around the hand warmer so that they can feel how that changes when exposed to air. And then the last thing that they will experiment with that they're not going to know ahead of time is a chemical reaction involving heat is heat-sensitive paper. What you'll want to do is ask them to take this piece of paper and glue it onto their workbook on the back page where the square is. What students will hopefully notice as they're gluing it on, they will hopefully notice that pressing it down and rubbing hard makes the appearance of the paper change. Have them notice that as that cools off, it goes back to its original appearance. then they can start to look at different things that would impact that. Another thing that you can do is have them on the opposite side make some marks in black, and see then out in the sun they can see how that impacts it as well. So several different things that can be going on during the same lesson where students can be making a lot of observations. We do want them to use, again, precise language as they are writing these observations in their workbooks.